Big thank you to this episode's sponsors, OpenPhone, the #1 business phone system that streamlines and scales your customer communications. Get 20% off of your first 6 months at openphone.com/earn. Shopify, the e-commerce platform that I trust for Glossy. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/happy. Constant Contact. Constant Contact's award-winning marketing platform is here to make marketing way easier and way more effective. Get a free 30-day trial when you go to constantcontact.com.
The level of risk that you're willing to tolerate, the level of embarrassment that you can handle, the level of learning in front of the whole world is why you will be compensated. You will not be compensated to look good. You will not be compensated if you're not willing to fail in front of people. And the ones who do it and really build that brand, all of a sudden, everybody wishes that they would have done it earlier.
And we're back
with another episode of He Said, She Said.
All right, we had the best lunch date yesterday. We went down like memory lane, and that's what we're going to share with you guys is some of the memories of the jobs and what we've been through to get where we are right now, just to like inspire you in case you're like, hey, I need someone to kick me back in the game, or I'm in that trudging along part, and I need to know there's light at the end of the tunnel. So we're going to share some really good stories because that's what we did yesterday at lunch. I guess a couple margaritas kind of help, you know. A
couple skinny margaritas.
Yeah, exactly. So here's what we wanted to talk about today. We had the best lunch, like I said, a couple margaritas, you start reflecting on the past. Where it really came from is we're making an offer. So we had sold this home in California. We're making an offer on another home. And we were like, wow, I can't believe like we have a shot of getting into this home. Look how far we've come. And we went down memory lane. And it turned into like remembering that Lori used to get up at 4 a.m. every day to go work as a barista at a drive-thru coffee shop. And that I used to get up at 4 or 5 a.m. every day and do landscape construction to pay the bills. And that my biggest dreams at the time, I remember sitting there, and we're going to start right here, actually. I was telling Lori, we were laughing. I was like, I remember sitting there figuring out my future life numbers and saying, if I bought this many rental properties, these 4 units, and I lived in one of them, I'd be able to clear about $2,400 a month after paying for the mortgage and living there. And that $2,400 a month, and I was like, this is so, talk about bad money management. I was like, my car payment is like $550. So I guess I've always selected nice cars. This is 20 some years ago, right? And who's going to pay $550 a month car payment out of making, an extra $2,400 a month or whatever you're going to clear? But nonetheless, that's where my mind was at. And it's like, I could pay for this car that I love and still have, $1,800 a month left over. I'm good. I'm set. And that's like where my level of dreaming was at this time while I was doing landscape construction. And even that was good because I was like, well, I'm buying the rental properties and one day they're going to be paid off and then I'll have all this equity. So your level of dreams change, but the jobs that you had, the work that you had to do while you were getting your dreams in order usually isn't fun. I was getting up at 4 or 5 in the morning to plow. So I did landscape construction every year in the summer. And then for that same company, I would plow, because this was Wisconsin, whenever it would snow. And so I'd wake up at 4 or 5 in the morning, or heck, sometimes it's midnight or 1 or 2 in the morning. And I'd get into the plow truck. I'd start it up. It'd be freezing. It'd be covered in snow. Or if I was lucky, I got one of the ones that was in the garage, put all the equipment on. And you'd be out there in the middle of the night or first thing in the morning, plowing in the freezing cold and then getting out and having to shovel the parts you couldn't plow. And that was life. And I actually loved it while I was doing it. But that's how far we've come. Lori, your story about the being a barista and all that stuff was great.
So I worked at a drive-thru coffee shop. Like, picture those little huts that you see sometimes. Some parts of the country don't have them, but it's a very Midwest thing. So you can just stay in your car, pull up and get a coffee. And I worked in one of those little huts for, my God, a couple of years. I think it was a couple of years.
Was it a bikini drive-thru coffee place?
No, but I probably would have made more tips.
Like in the movie Landman?
I absolutely would have made more tips. I should have reinvented that. So I would wake up at 4 a.m. to have to get to the coffee shop. I think we opened, I couldn't remember if we opened at 5 or 5:30. And clearly if you're waking up that early, you pretty much just roll out of bed. I remember slapping on makeup for like maybe 1 minute and having like a little routine of what I wore and how I looked to this coffee shop. And I would go there and open, and you'd be the only opener. It'd still be super dark, middle of winter, you guys. I remember the winters because they were the most brutal. And it was so freezing, so pitch black. And you have to stand in this drive-through window and it's freezing. And I just remember I would get done, or I would start at, we'd open the place at like 5:30 and I would be done around 1, sometimes 2, depending on the shift. And I would be so exhausted that I would nap from like 1 until 5, or I'd come home. I was telling Chris, because I've always been into fitness, I've always been into health, and I didn't want to be eating like a whole other meal because I would have already had like breakfast and lunch, and I used to want to wait for him to have dinner. But there's this big window where my body's telling me it's like dinner time. And so I'd come home and I'd be like, okay, what could I eat that's light, that's not too crazy? And I remember I would make a whole bag of light popcorn and I'd have a Coke Zero. And then I would go and take a nap, probably wondering why I couldn't sleep very well. I would have a Coke Zero, literally. And I would go and take a nap until he would come home at like 5 or 6. And then we would go to the gym. And then I would try to sleep around 10, but I normally wouldn't fall asleep till like 1 or 2 because my circadian rhythm was so off. And then I'd get up and do it all over again. And I just remember feeling exhausted. I remember feeling like I couldn't do it anymore. I actually loved the job more than I can tell you because I love talking to people. I did that job so well. I was like the person that they never wanted to lose because I was this impeccable cleaner. I was an impeccable closer. Like I've always done everything the best it could possibly be done. But this also caused a lot of like pain for me because I always knew I was better than the positions that I was in, except I hadn't graduated high school. And I remember it was the biggest fear of mine that I couldn't go to another job. Like I would have to always have these low-level jobs that I have to work my way up because I was so afraid that people would find out I didn't graduate from high school. And so there was another job I remember looking online, or not online, probably in the paper at the time. We were just married. And
oh my God, it was in the paper. It wasn't even online.
Paper, yeah.
Online wasn't really a thing.
It wasn't a thing.
Whoa.
No, it wasn't a thing. And there was an opportunity to make commission on office furniture sales. And I was like, I think I could do this. Like it was an opportunity to make more money, to get my hours back in order, maybe get my sleep back, like get on a schedule with my husband.
It felt like possibly a lot of money, right?
And it felt like possibly a lot of money, but it probably wasn't. And I just remember being like so freaked out that I couldn't apply for this job or that I was going to. And you were like, just lie about it. Just say that you graduated. Lori, you're the best employee of any spot that you go to. And I like could not get over it. But I think I applied to it and I don't remember what ended up happening. I ended up getting a different job.
Yeah, you went and interviewed. I remember that much. You interviewed. I don't remember what happened. Yeah, you got a different job.
Or I know I didn't take it.
Maybe they sniffed out your lie. She didn't really graduate.
Maybe.
I've got one more that I forgot to tell you yesterday. And again, all of this is just to like frame, no matter where you are right now, you're still going to end up on top of the mountain. I know it. So when I was doing landscape construction, driving tractors and graders and then laying down sod and hardscapes and then plowing in winter in the middle of the night and doing all those things, I went and I got a job at a car dealership after that when I got booted out of college. And the car dealership isn't the job I want to talk about. The car dealership was good money and it taught me sales and it taught me leadership and a lot of things I use today. But I had this desire to make even more money than I was at the time. And I've always had this entrepreneurial spirit, right? So if you've always had the entrepreneurial spirit, listen to it. Remember back when I started this story, I was like, if I just got these 4 rental units and lived in one and rented the other 3, like that's part of the entrepreneurial spirit. Well, I started a cleaning company because I went to the bars a lot and my friends owned some of the bars. And I would talk to them about what they would pay for cleaning, or I should say they would complain about what they paid to have their bar clean and that no one did a good job. And I was like, well, I'll do it. Like, what do you mean you'll do it? And I was like the guy that was always in the bars with them. And they're like, you won't do it. I'm like, no, I really will. I've got a cleaning company. And they're like, you do? I'm like, oh, I do now. It's like literally invented out of necessity. Is at a bar called Anduzzi's is where this started, if you guys know Green Bay at all.
Oh my God.
And so they're like, well, I mean, we'll give you a shot if you want to do it. I'm like, yeah, totally. When do I start? So my mom, I had needed someone to help clean. So I'm like, Mom, I did this thing. I said I have a cleaning company. It pays a lot of money because you could get paid. I'm going to forget what the numbers are, but by cleaning a couple of bars, and I remember we cleaned the restaurant bar of a golf course in the middle of the night too. And remember, you got to go after bar time. So bars close at like 2 a.m. in Wisconsin. You can't show up till 3.
Oh my God.
So Lori, I would work during the day.
The craziest story.
Then I would go out to the bars, the very bars I was going to be cleaning later. Then I'd go home for a minute, and then I'd come back, open up that bar at 3 a.m. and I'd clean it. And I'd have to do 2 or 3 of them in a night by the time that.
These bars are massive, you guys. These are like what would you even call it? Like they're big sports bars.
Big sports bars.
Like,
yep. So Mom was first employee and eventually partner in this thing. And we got some other employees right away. But my mom and I, in the middle of the night, several nights a week, I think every night, maybe, if I remember correctly, were cleaning bars in the middle of the freaking night, like literally while everybody else is asleep. And this went on for a couple of years because it's really good money. Bars and offices in the middle of the night. And eventually Mom took that thing over when I didn't want to do it anymore. And she actually did it for a handful of years and went through a handful of employees and all that fun stuff. Here's why I share that. I never thought that I'd be cleaning urinals, the very urinals I pissed in, at 3 a.m. in the morning every single day for some money. But I was, because the money was there and I was hungry for it. And I had that I'll do anything entrepreneurial spirit. And so now to bring this full circle, when we were at lunch yesterday, like, oh my God, we're making an offer on this house. I can't believe that we're getting this dream home, blah, blah, all this stuff. To come that full circle, you guys can go anywhere you want, no matter where you are right now. Whether you are just starting and you're young, like in those stories, whether you're starting over, like when Lori and I had to start over from below zero in 2008, 2009. These are both moments of being at the absolute bottom of the economic food chain and being able to rise to the top of the mountain if you want to get there. And back then, here's probably the most important point. I didn't see the how. I didn't see the path. I had no idea we'd be doing what we do right now. Zero. Hell, podcasts weren't a thing. FinTech wasn't a thing. Supplements wasn't a thing.
The things we've been successful with were not things.
They were not things. So you don't know how you're going to get there. But if you have the entrepreneurial spirit and if you're willing to clean urinals at 3 a.m. as a metaphor, then you're going to be just fine and you're going to get to the top of the mountain.
I get asked all the time what it was like to pivot from digital products, books, events into a physical product, a consumer package product. And I will say it was one of the biggest learning curves of my entire life, not to mention hiring a team who has a background in this and just everything that I have to learn about getting a physical product out into the world and how to acquire customers with it. But let me tell you one thing that was super easy, and that was my e-commerce platform and choosing it, because I had heard so many amazing things about Shopify. It just made my choice so much easier, because Shopify is the e-commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world. And 10% of all e-commerce in the US, from household names like Mattel and Gymshark to brands that are just getting started, including Glossy. So get started with your own design studio with hundreds of ready-to-use templates. Shopify helps you build a beautiful online store to match your brand's style, which if you go look at mine, you'll see it's totally on brand with Glossy. Accelerate your content creation. Shopify is packed with helpful AI tools that write product descriptions, page headlines, and even enhance your product photography. You can get the word out like you have a marketing team behind you. You can easily create email and social media campaigns wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. And best yet, Shopify is your commerce expert with world-class expertise in everything from managing inventory to international shipping to processing returns and beyond. So if you're ready to sell, you're ready for Shopify. Turn your big business idea into with Shopify on your side. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/happy. Go to shopify.com/happy, shopify.com/happy. If you follow my social media, you guys know that I have been talking about the importance of growing a list and owning your audience and converting all your people from social, because there is so much unpredictability in the world that we really need to be able to control what we can control. And that's why Constant Contact's award-winning marketing platform is here to make marketing way easier and way more effective for small businesses like yours and like mine. And the best part, you don't need to know anything about marketing. So your struggle with expensive, slow, and unmeasurable marketing is over, because with their all-in-one platform, you can create and manage attention-grabbing campaigns in just a few clicks. Email, text, social media, events, landing pages, you name it, it's all in one place. No more juggling dozens of different tools, because Constant Contact's AI content generator helps you turn a rough idea into a ready-to-go message faster than ever. And with hundreds of customizable templates, it's easy to make something that looks and reads like your brand. So pricing is transparent and based on your contact list. So if you're only paying for what you need, there's no surprises. And with a 97% email deliverability rate, your messages land far from spam, which is huge, so that you have control over that audience, you guys. That's why over 500,000 small businesses trust Constant Contact to stay connected, top of mind, and ahead of the competition. Constant Contact is helping the small businesses stand tall. You guys, Constant Contact is something that so many of the people that I work with in our masterminds use and are obsessed with. So I'm so glad that we found Constant Contact. So get a free 30-day trial when you go to constantcontact.com. Try Constant Contact free for 30 days at constantcontact.com. That's constantcontact.com.
We've been talking so much with people about the level of risk that you're willing to tolerate, the level of embarrassment that you can handle, the level of learning in front of the whole world is why you will be compensated. You will not be compensated to look good. You will not be compensated
to play it safe,
to go and join what everyone else is doing and doing the same exact thing. Like, you will not be compensated if you're not willing to fail in front of people. And, we were just talking to our friend Matt Hannaford, and he's an incredible baseball agent, and he's kind of doing some new things. Like he's kind of
shaking up the agency world,
and he's starting, he has this epic podcast and doing all of these different things that aren't necessarily looked at as, the great thing that people should be doing as an agent. It's kind of like if you're a medical doctor in that industry, when people have podcasts or have social media followings, they're kind of like, they're a little bit like laughed at or not taken serious at first. But the ones who do it and really build that brand, all of a sudden, everybody wishes that they would have done it earlier. They wish they would have built their brand in that way, because so many things are changing that those are the people who have those personal brands and those other options in their life. Their eggs are in other baskets. That's how you be successful. Because let me tell you, Chris and I know a thing or two about success being cyclical and watching full-on income streams go away overnight.
Industries go away. You name it. My baking industry went away overnight.
Oh my God. Right? We've been a part of it so often, so frequently.
All right, listen, there's no great paycheck in protecting your ego. That's the bottom line.
Yep.
But if you're willing to sacrifice your ego, stoke that entrepreneurial fire, swing for the fences, not care how many times you fall down and be willing to get back up, then you absolutely have to believe me and have faith that no matter what you see in front of you right now, you will end up on top of the mountain, or I guess in our case, on top of the hill overlooking Newport Bay Harbor and the ocean, which I'm so freaking excited and grateful about. All right, guys. Hopefully this inspired you. We appreciate you listening and love you always.
We will talk to you next week.